Hello and welcome to our webinar on artificial intelligence, especially for the media and broadcast sector. My name is Mark Andrews. I am a global sales manager with Mobile Viewpoint. Michelle, would you like to?
Yes, and hi, I'm Michel Buys, Managing Director of Mobile Viewpoint, and I'm here together with Mark to talk about AI and the applications we use it for in Mobile Viewpoint.
So today we're talking from our studio here within the Netherlands, but we do have some guests from all over the world actually this afternoon, and I'd like them to introduce themselves. So first of all, Peter, if you could introduce yourself.
So hello everyone, my name is Peter Grena and I'm the marketing manager at Octopus newsroom.
Great. And Myro? I think you're on mute, Myro.
Hi, I'm Miro Umbra. I'm CTO of Traco Systems, and we are a system integrator and developer.
Great stuff. And last but not least, Matt.
Thanks, Andrew. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Eaton. I'm the Managing Director for EMEA for Graymeta, Inc.
Great. So the plan of today is I'm going to talk for about 10, 15 minutes, a little bit on AI itself, a bit of an introduction, and then talk about what we as a company, Mobile Viewpoint, are doing in the AI market space. But in terms of housekeeping, everybody's on mute, so you can talk. But we will be taking a Q&A session at the end. So within Zoom itself, there's a little Q&A box where you can write your questions. Feel free to write as you go. Or if you prefer, in the chat as well, you can write questions there as well. And then hopefully between us, we'll address them at the end. If you have a question for a specific person, then please just put their name first and then add their question as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show some slides, but just by way of introduction, I showed the Jeopardy thing there at the start. Purely, it was a personal thing. It's actually from 2012. And for me, that was what really piqued my interest in artificial intelligence. Now, the thing about Jeopardy, it's not just a general knowledge thing where you answer questions. The whole thing about it was that in order to be successful at Jeopardy, you have to think like a human, and a lot of the answers are actually inferred. So when they first set that up, they went, there's no way a machine can answer these questions and take on what it needs to be a Jeopardy champion. But with Watson, they proved that wrong. And actually, I don't know if you know a lot about Watson, but in the years since, Watson's been used for a whole host of other applications, from solving cybercrime to helping cancer research. It really is when you look at the history behind Watson, it's come a long way. But many of us, and that's the point of today, really, we're using AI. It's no longer a myth. It's no longer magical marketing. It really has come of age, and we're using AI in our everyday technology. So what I'm going to do on that note is I'm going to share my slides. Bear with me a second. So I've done a bit of introduction on AI, but the other thing that piqued my interest, obviously, was of artificial intelligence and machine learning, was Skynet, which I think it goes back to the 90s. It's probably safe to say that none of my relatives will be leading any sort of rebellion in the future, because no one's come back in time and tried to have me killed. But again, it's that whole sort of machine learning. Will we get to the level that Skynet's at? Well, I'm not sure, but certainly that's not what we're going to talk about today. So in terms of the media and broadcast industry, I don't know if any of you guys or ladies have read the NAB show Daily. It actually came out last week, and there was an interesting article within it about AI. And I'm just going to read this verbatim because I thought it was quite interesting and quite appropriate for what we're talking today. According to the Gartner hype cycle, several critical components of what we collectively call artificial intelligence, or AI, namely neural networks, machine learning, computer vision, and natural language processing, have passed the peak of inflated expectations. The next step on Gartner's cycle, a looming trough of disillusionment, followed by a slope of enlightenment. I think the whole disillusionment thing kind of puzzled me a little bit, because, when you talk with us and some of our contemporaries and colleagues in the industry, we're just getting started in the AI space, and we really believe that there is a big future here. So in terms of definition, this is something I just typed into Google, and this is the first thing it came out with. Artificial intelligence is the broader concept of machines being able to carry out tasks in a way that we consider smart. Machine learning is a current application of AI based around the idea that we should really just be able to give machines access to data and let them learn for themselves. I put this here because in the past, I've had a few arguments with people where they've gone, oh, that's not AI or that isn't AI. But actually, machine learning is AI. It's just a subset of AI. So AI does cover a sort of a massive vertitudes. So just focusing on mobile viewpoint, we're a company been around since 2008, based here, Alkmaar in the Netherlands. And we've been innovators in live streaming solutions, particularly H.264, H.265 encoding, a lot of outside broadcast technology. We have the backpack solution, which uses multiple 4G networks in order to do live transmission back to a broadcast center, used a lot in sports, news, and other outdoor events. But what we're seeing is as an industry is that obviously 5G is coming. We have IP 4K. And I think with 5G especially, it's going to really disrupt the market. And you know, as a company, we need to continue to innovate. So in the last year, we've been developing new AI technology. So we have two products at the moment that we've been developing currently. The first is vPilot. And in fact, this whole webinar is driven by vPilot, at least from our end. We're in a studio, not a camera person or director in sight, but we've got a whole host of cameras in front of me, and I'll show you them in a minute. Basically, and it's the decision of the AI server to basically show the clip as well, show who's talking. And that'll sort of change when I sort of interview Michelle in a second. And then we also have IQ SP, which is our IQ sports production platform. So again, this is AI technology. It's basically a camera. It overlooks the field of play, but it follows the action on the field automatically. So again, you don't need camera people. You don't need an on-site director, and everything can be managed remotely. So what is the value of AI? From our perspective, we're not trying to replace jobs. So I talked about not a camera person in sight, but actually what we're not trying to do is replace those existing tier one productions. So you've got the tier one football, the Premier League, they have a production crew, they go to site, they might have an OB truck. Are we trying to replace that? No, not at the moment at least. We're more trying to do things that in the past was really cost prohibitive, or where people didn't have the resources to do it properly. And they want a professional production, but really just couldn't afford to do that. So sort of more the lower league grass sports, the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, and not just football or soccer, but also basketball, rugby, cricket, indoor sports as well, ice hockey, that sort of thing as well. And the AI itself is trained on each sport. And again, it's true of vPilot too. So though vPilot, which is our camera production system, doesn't have any camera people either, really, we're sort of gearing it more sort of those lower cost productions, maybe emergency newsrooms, radio stations where they have interviews, but they're actually streaming to the web as well. So they might have the whole roundtable discussion and they want to create a professional production, which they stream to the web. And also we get a lot of broadcasters where they're having lower cost productions where they might be doing a podcast or vloggers or that sort of stuff. And again, roundtable discussion, and let the cameras just decide and the AI decide what sort of shot needs to be taken as well. So a quick look behind the scene. Michelle, perhaps if you could just turn the other camera on. So I have an external camera here, which is really just my handheld device. There's Michelle.
Hello.
So what we're looking at over here is the screens. I have Zoom running over here, but actually behind there, we have four PTZ cameras actually. And on the top of each one is a three-dimensional scanner, 3D scanner. And it's that which is sort of ascertaining who is here, where they are, and where to point the camera. We also have in the middle an overview camera as well. So actually the AI, which is actually installed in a server on the floor, you have to excuse the wiring, all the intelligence is within the server itself. And it's the AI that's determined who is talking and how to create the shot as well. So it's not just necessarily, it does overviews and that sort of thing as well. And then we're able to create overlays. And in terms of the IQ SP, So again, similar concept. We have a camera overlooking the field of play, and it's actually a camera that has 4K cameras installed. So though the picture is moving, it's actually not a moving camera. Here we're creating a virtual zoom within the camera, and we're actually recording the whole panoramic event. So it's a panoramic view of the whole field that we capture, and then the server, again on site, will then create this virtual view, and it's following the action of the players and the ball as well. I mentioned earlier, it's not for tier 1 clubs necessarily, but actually we do have Ajax in Amsterdam, Porto in Portugal who use this, and they tend to use it more for their training, which again in the past was a bit cost prohibitive to capture in a professional format, but also for the under 21 games, the under 18s, and some of the women's sports as well, where again they can't often have the luxury of having a production crew come to site and record it because budgets just don't allow that. But all of a sudden with the AI technology, it's a real enabler to open up real professional productions, but at a price point that's really very compelling. The next slide actually shows ice hockey. And what we've done here, we've just overlaid the puck with an orange dot so you can see that. And again, the interesting thing about ice hockey, it's obviously a small puck and it's going very, very fast, but we're still able to track it. And we can add other feature functionality. So if you want to add commentary, or we overlay the score, and in fact we have a whole list of features that we can do on top of this. But this is certainly from a basic AI point of view. There's not a camera person in sight here, and it's all being done locally as well. So at this point, I was going to do enough talking. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. And I was actually going to quickly introduce Michel here. So Michel, he's the managing director at Mobile Viewpoint, but I also see him as the CTO, the product marketeer. He's really the brains behind it. So Michel, I was going to ask you, from an AI perspective, what do you think is important in terms of developing and looking at the market? Especially for
AI really helped us to develop those two products, vPilot and IQ Sports Producer, into a real mature product. Because the idea of image recognition and finding players and balls or ice hockey players in a pitch is not new. With traditional image recognition techniques, it's also possible, but it's quite sensitive for faults, and also it is sometimes very difficult to find, especially balls. And when we start applying AI image recognition, it started to work much, much better than ever expected. And actually, it solved a lot of things we did in the past with if-then-else type of trees. It was all solved automatically. And the nice thing about AI as well, that it really works as your human eye. So if you see somebody kicking against the white thingy, then you think it's the ball. And it's also what AI thinks. Sometimes a guy is kicking to something else, so then you get a misfocus. But that is the nice thing about AI. And actually, in the past, AI was also quite slow, computer intensive. So it was difficult to make a real cost-affordable product with it. But since, of course, the NVIDIA and those people like Intel make very cheap GPUs, it's now possible to really make it work and really get real-time production of those type of content.
So how do you train the system?
And the training is actually how all AI works. It needs training material and not and a lot. So it needs a lot of pictures to be seen, for example, from a puck or from a ball or from ice hockey players or soccer players. You have to train the AI with those pictures and tell them what is a player and what is not a player, what is a ball, what just a dot. So after about 10,000 pictures, it gets to do quite a nice job, but you have to feed it manually with 10,000 pictures. But after that, it does it automatically.
Okay. I know it's not being perfect. We talked a bit this morning about sometimes a seagull might land on the football field and it's been mistaken for a football, and the camera goes, oh, that's interesting. Or
yeah, but you can train AI to not recognize seagulls, but also you see that specific example, the seagull picking up a white piece of paper because it was something to eat. And also your eye thinks, it almost looked like a ball. So these mistakes are almost human, I would say.
Nothing's perfect. Oh, and that's kind of where the direction we're trying to go in.
Yes.
Anyhow, that's enough from us at Mobile Viewpoint. What I'd like to do now is pass on to our guests and give our guests an opportunity. So each one of them is working in the AI, but I'll let them explain. So first of all, Peter, if I could pass to you. I'm going to make you host. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark. So hello again, everyone. For those of you that missed the introduction, my name is Peter Grena, and I'm the marketing manager at Octopus Newsroom. We are in business of newsroom computer systems for 21 years already. And it wasn't until recently that the whole AI integration became more than just a buzzword, and we saw an actual integration and the use of the AI-powered processes in the newsroom. We all remember that time when there were only one or two different sources of incoming information in the newsroom, but that all changed over time. Now we have to handle dozens, if not hundreds, of different sources coming in, and it ranges from traditional news agency wires all the way to social media feeds. As we talked to our customers, we discovered that there are many different use cases for the AI integration. Some customers needed to process and sort through the huge amount of media. Others use the AI-powered speech-to-text. Some customers want to fight the fake news with the help of AI, and so on. So I will not show you all the possible use cases today. For that, we would spend the whole day just looking at that. For the purpose of this presentation, I'll show you how the modern newsroom can benefit from using the AI in their daily workflow. We have now in this presentation the Traco Systems AI integrated in our newsroom computer system, the Octopus X. So let me show my screen. And I hope that you all can see my screen correctly. So let's imagine that we are in our virtual newsroom, and my job as a journalist is to sort through all of the videos that we got from our citizens using our crowd journalism platform. So instead of watching and checking all of the videos manually, we will use the AI to recognize categories and people and provide a speech-to-text if possible. So this action will allow us to sort through a huge amount of media and use those selected faster. As you can see it here, the AI recognized that there is a vehicle on the road and a mountain pass as well. If we change to a different video, we'll see that there is a road, vehicle, and so on. So based on these categories, I can then filter my videos and search for a specific video without actually watching them at all. Now, without the AI integration, we would have to watch and check all of the videos ourselves. And the use of AI here allows us to work faster, more efficient, and we can deliver interesting content to our viewers as soon as possible. Secondly, our virtual newsroom gets thousands of agency wires a day. And thanks to the AI integration, we know who appears in those videos, we know and see how often they appear, and we have a transcript of that video thanks to the AI speech-to-text. So as you can see here, just by clicking on the name of the person, we'll see when that person appeared for the first time on screen, and we can follow the speech-to-text transcript. But this is not everything that the AI integration can help us with. I'm working as a journalist in our virtual newsroom, and I'm writing my story. And thanks to the AI, we already have speech-to-text data from all the videos, and we already indexed them. So now, when I search for a certain video, thanks to those data from the AI, I will get my result even without watching and checking the video myself. And once I use this video in a story, we will see exactly the same view, and we can then check everything here, set our in and out time based on the transcript, for example. We can insert lower thirds with the information that's there and the time code automatically. So this allows you to use the video, insert the information, and do all those things without actually watching throughout the whole video. You can of course do that, but it's not that necessary. So again, we came to the point where we are more efficient and faster. So these are just a few examples of how to use the AI in the newsroom. There are, of course, many more options and possibilities, and we think that the use of AI in the newsroom will be at some point the standard. It gives us the opportunity to work faster, more efficient, and we can process huge amounts of media. We can fight the fake news, and we can deliver quality news to our viewers as soon as possible. So we, as a newsroom computer system provider, we always try to exceed the expectations of our customers and develop features and integration that are useful for our customers, the AI being one of them. Now, I hope that you all got an idea how AI could actually be used in the newsroom. There are, of course, more different use cases. We can talk about some of them maybe at the end, or you can just ask questions and we can have a chat about that. So I'll thank you for your attention, and I will now pass the word to Miro from Traco Systems. Thank you.
Hello, thank you. I'm Miro Umbra, CTO of Traco Systems. Peter just presented one of the use case of the using AI. We did this integration together with the Octopus. So I prepared for you one presentation, which I can share with you. So as I mentioned, we are a system integrator and developer company, and we have ambition to work with AI, especially for the metadata enrichment. So our first project was, let's say, pilot project for TA3, which is Slovak-based television, which sits in Bratislava. Its name is TA3, which is 24/7 news television. And they asking us for solving the problem with the enriching metadata for the archiving purposes, because it was really complicated to put all the names and with the time codes to the description of the archived metadata. And so it was really challenging, and therefore we start to created our Traco AI platform. So our platform, which we created, is right now to able to integrate with the Media Central UX from the Avid, Octopus newsroom system, as Peter presented right now, and we are also active with VizRT and working for Viz1 as an MAN. So there are just a couple of modules which we have. This is the face recognition module. This is the search engine, where we are able to search person and multiple persons on one picture, on one screen. We are able to create a database based on public sources like Wikipedia or Google. We prepare the powerful node system. So I mean, our AI, it's based on node, and it's scalable based on the customer needs. Of course, we are able to integrate the system via SOAP API or a REST API.
Miro, could you talk a little louder? It's very hard to hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I will try. So we are able to integrate it with the MAM system or newsroom system. So as Peter mentioned, we created a module for automatic lower third to prevent typo or mistake with creating the lower third, also closed captioning and speech to text. And there is another module which is object, scene, and category, automatic doing the category from the video content. So let's talk about closer to our face recognition module. So basically we are just watching we are analyzing the picture and finding the where is the faces based on the nose, mouth, and eyes. And then we are doing the more detailed analyzer, so biometrical analyzer, by creating the vector mask, actually 128 dimensional vector, which is stored under unique anonymous ID in the database, and then we can manually fill out the data, the metadata for each person, or we can automatically enrich it from the public sources, as I mentioned before. So we are doing also timestamp. This is heavily used also in Octopus. Timestamp it's user defined. It can be for every 5 seconds or every second. So it's depend on how many nodes customer using. So each video is segmented into time interval, and we are doing the timestamp with the name. And if there is not known faces, then we just using this unique ID. So then we are able to search the person in the video clips, or also in the time in the video clips. So easy to search, and even more with the combination of faces. For example, in this example, you can see that Theresa May and Donald Trump are on the same video clip in the same time. So this is the match which we are looking for during the searching. So we are able to search up to 6 persons in one picture, in one frame. Also naming the unknown faces, as I mentioned before. So we have formula which is customized with the customized field. You can fill out the formula. Then you are able to search the single person, the combination of the person with the selected in time interval, and a lot of other filters. Search by name of the video, search by category, or search by picture. If you have picture of the person, you can upload it to the system and automatically search based on the picture. So we are able to integrate it to the MAM systems or any other third-party systems. So basically, we are waiting for the media, incoming media like video or a static picture. Then it comes to our face recognizer or our AI backend. Right now we are up to 5 times faster than real time, depend on the GPU acceleration. So we are using GPU acceleration from NVIDIA, and you can find the result in our UI, which is more or less technical UI for the administration purposes, or via REST API to any third-party integration like to Octopus Newsroom or Avid Media Central or any other field. So we are open for doing integration with the other MAM or newsroom systems or sport systems, doesn't matter. So this is just a brief overview of our dashboard. As I mentioned, this is more or less for administrative purposes. This is the example of integration in TA3 with the Media Central UX, where you can see in a Traco Media Inspector panel on the right side the content of the video. So which person are in this video and in which time code. This is the integration with Octopus, which Peter showed already, and this is the integration with the VIS1 for Slovak Film Institute, which they are using it for the archive purposes, the Slovak Film Institute. At the end, I prepared just for relief, for relaxing, some video which we created So we are not professional in creation of the video, but we believe the idea of behind the artificial intelligence, but behind all artificial intelligence are still humans. So, and this is the humans which creating the platform and also this video. For example, our support manager did the voiceover, sales manager did the animation, and developers help us with the screens and idea. So here is it.
Get ready for the new era of broadcasting. One of the greatest villains for broadcasters is time. This editor competes with time every single day, and clearly he is not always the winner. So we have decided to save the day and develop our new AI platform. With Traco AI, production teams might even feel like gaining new superpowers. And that is how I was born. Traco AI can perfectly recognize faces, scenes and objects, or help you with automatic speech transcription. And it can actually work 25 times faster than the real time. And because this guy cannot work faster anymore, we are ready to help. With features like face detection, searching people or groups, database creation, powerful note system, MAM integration, automatic subtitle or closed captioning generation. Traco AI uses machine learning technology. It can act as a standalone server and be integrated into systems like Octopus Newsroom, Avid Media Central, or this one from Wizard via full REST API. Which means that we can customize it for your specific demands, and post-production will become much more efficient. I'm so excited I haven't even realized I'm standing on my boss's laptop again. So with Traco AI, you won't be scared of deadlines anymore. Get more information right now at ai.tracosys.eu and meet us at IBC.
So the video was created for IBC show. So thank you for your attention, and I give him the words to back to Mark.
Thanks, Myro. So Matt, last but not least.
Thanks. Just check. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
You can see my presentation.
Yes.
Thank you. Great. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Mobile Viewpoint, for inviting me here today to talk about machine learning in news and sport. I'd like to tell you about Graymeta and how we're helping news and sport organizations realize the benefits of machine learning generated metadata. So Graymeta leverages metadata to provide solutions for companies with workloads tied to digital assets, not just video, but audio, images, and even documents as well. We enable companies to digitize and migrate physical video assets, leveraging our SAMA migration platform. We connect to their assets using our Iris product to access pretty much any type of master file, wherever that's stored, playback and QC those master files. And then we leverage machine learning and some AI services focused on creating valuable metadata tied to the asset using Curio. So our products can be used in 6 core areas. For many customers, we start off at the beginning of the media supply chain in production and in creative teams, and we also work within the QC area. The metadata we generate can be used across the content supply chain, but it's most often used to speed up search and discovery for different teams. So while searching and accessing content is important, we see a large amount of value where customers are using business intelligence tools as well. tools like Power BI, Tableau, or QuickSight from AWS to get key answers to questions about content and their library. And I'll touch on some of those examples later on. Now with the disruption tied to production and live sports coverage that we're seeing at the moment, there's a lot of work being done in unlocking and making key moments in archives available to customers and fans on social platforms, and that's where we work within fan engagement and archive and library management. So in all, we've touched on this through the different talks today, but there's the three key benefits are around reducing operational costs and speeding up the production time, post-production time, increasing the efficiency operationally tied to media and content workflows, and monetizing that content and opening up new consumption opportunities for content owners and brands tied to customers and fan engagement. So the platform itself enables a lot of different machine learning services to be used to analyze the content. So it can be, from a player point of view, custom face recognition, object detection, logos and brands, sponsors can be detected, speech to text and OCR, as well as some custom models as well that we've enabled. So it's a combination of these machine learning services that can be taken from best of breed providers, smaller niche providers as well, and some of our own machine learning services as well. It's a combination of this that provides the insight that is often needed. So news and sports clients, use machine learning for a variety of different ways. So I've mentioned on time and cost saving, creating differentiated customer experiences using machine learning is a big area, and finding content to engage with fans as well. And as we saw from mobile Viewpoint and the analysis of sports or a news event to gain greater insights. So three areas I'd like to just touch on. The first area being sponsorship, brand and sponsor highlights. Sponsorship is obviously a key part of monetizing sports events, and the ability to detect and understand where a logo appears on the screen, the prominence of that logo, how long it was up there on screen is really important for a lot of clubs and sports organizations. So that's the one area where we've worked. Another area is around identifying key moments within a football match. So we've developed a custom model to detect different parts of the football match, like a goal, penalty, free kick, crowd shots, things that editors want to know about when they're creating highlights. And we can combine that with custom face recognition, so you can see exactly when a player scored a goal, for example, commentary, transcription, and OCR and things like that as well. All of this metadata can then be shared with an editing platform like Adobe Premiere, so you can see all of the metadata in a timeline. So an editor can then pull these key clips into a project very quickly. And finally, a great example of working with a news organization. This was where Graymeta worked with Sky News and our partners AWS Elemental for the coverage of the royal wedding in 2018. And this was the purpose of this was to create a differentiated viewer experience online and via mobile devices. And it really was one of the first instances of live face recognition during a live news event. What we did is recognize guests as they turned up at the Windsor Chapel, provided a short bio of those guests and the time that they arrived. So Sky News was able to put together a who's who digital experience for their viewers. We knew that facial recognition was never 100%, and it's important to understand that for any machine learning service. It's rarely does it get 100%. Knowing the limitations helped us make this a success. Though we put in a fast turnaround human curation screen that allowed for human editors to override any mistakes that were made by the machine learning service before it went to the end consumer's device. And so in this way, the Sky News was able to use the technology with confidence. But I think this points to an important piece of advice that we have when we see the best combination of machine learning with human kind of interaction is being realistic about what's possible, and knowing the limitations of AI and machine learning is really important to create the best design. And then I think the opportunity right now around surfacing content that is archived as well, and creating new content in different ways through the archives is a really important thing to look at in the situation that we're in at the moment. That's all from me.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Very much appreciate that. So what we're going to do now is just check out the Q&A session. Give me a second while I click on it. So we do have a couple of questions. If you've got more questions, then we'll go to the chat in a minute as well. So either Q&A box or the chat box, doesn't matter which. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to write them. Can you send a link of this recording? This is good stuff to show our clients. Well, that's very kind of you. Yes, we're recording this, so we'll make it available on YouTube. My address is sales@mobileviewpoint.com, so you can drop me an email and we can send it you, or just keep an eye out on my profile on LinkedIn. I'll certainly put it up there too. For the IQSP, do you have to map the facility to stabilize the right location of cameras and sensors? How is the process? That's Rodrigo.
Yes, the IQSP doesn't have a sensor, so you have a panorama camera, so create a panoramic picture of the complete pitch. And then within this panoramic picture, you have to point out the locations of the corners and the goal corners of a basketball, the basket locations. So the AI knows where to check for indeed the balls of the play. And of course, outside those markings, there's not checked for a ball. So for example, balls waiting with ball boys or just with a trainer are not taken care into the equation. And it's a very easy process, web-based. So you get a web-based picture of the pitch and then you just have to point with your mouse the corners.
Okay, just having a quick look on chat, see if we've got any questions. Good afternoon from Switzerland. Yeah, thank you for joining, Marco. Is there an option to download this webinar? Yes, we've answered that. So I think it's the same question.
Collision with teams in the background. I think it's the same question about ball detection. But if you point out the pitch, then there can be balls anywhere outside the pitch, but we don't look at those.
No. Okay, great. I do believe that's it. So, so in terms of conclusion, really, I mean, part of the things we set out today was this whole trough of disillusionment. Does it exist? I don't believe so. Certainly not in our business. We're certainly going from strength to strength. We have a very rich roadmap going forwards. Michelle, I don't know if there's anything you can say about the future.
First of all, of course, AI helped us to make the products better compared to traditional image recognition technologies we used in the past. And of course, what we're looking at the moment is traditional AI algorithms look very much in a current space, so picture-based, but of course we are in the video space. So we're also looking into enhance the AI with more, that it really also looks in the past, so that it also uses video frames in the past, like you normally do with video encoding, to do the analytics of where is the ball, where is the player, where is somebody walking in a room, for example.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Guests, Myro, Matt, Peter, do you have anything you want to say to conclude? Do we have any comments, final comments? No, I don't blame them, they're all staying silent. So on that note, I would just like to say thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Mobile Viewpoint are hosting a number of webinars over the coming weeks. Next week, we're actually doing another one on IQSP and then one afterwards on vPilot as well. Again, if you want more information where we go a little bit more deep and into the detail of what it is and actually how the admin panel works and how to set things up. Again, it'd be great if you can join us. By all means, drop me an email, send us more details. And I think on that note, we're done. So again, thank you so much. Thank you for my panelists for joining me this afternoon. It's very much appreciated. And everybody, please stay safe out there. And until next time, we wish you well. Thank you for joining and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.